I'm here with Luke with News Channel 3 out of Memphis, here at Olive Branch at City Hall in front of this fantastic display for the veterans. And me being a Marine Corps veteran myself, this definitely means a lot to me. Nice display. Glad to see the state flag up and flying. All that know me know that that's something that I'm very passionate about.
So we're about ready, yeah.
Yeah.
You good, Claudia?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just have you look over at me.
Sure.
So, basically, you've essentially been banished from Lafayette County. When does all of that take effect?
Well, right now I'm waiting on an interstate compact to go through to transfer my probation to another state outside of Mississippi. That can take up to, according to the probation officer, it can take up to 45 days to get approval through MDOC, I think it is, that does the interstate compacts. And then once that is approved, 72 hours to leave Lafayette County.
And so once that does take effect, you can basically be arrested if you set foot back in Lafayette County.
You know, there was no actual mentioning of a particular punishment for going back to Lafayette County. I know that I've seen in a news article that I could be violated on my probation for going back in to Lafayette County, but I don't see where MDOC would ever see that as any kind of violation of probation. But I'm not sure what the punishment would be. I'm not here to test the punishment, obviously. I've done enough so far to where I'm really just trying to cool and lay low a little bit.
But it is a requirement of your probation that you stay out of Lafayette County.
It is a requirement, not of my probation, but of the plea arrangement that was worked out between the state and myself.
Okay. What do you think about that requirement?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I am the father of she'll be 3 years old next month and lives in Lafayette County. And, you know, what father wants to be told that they have to leave a county where their daughter or their child resides in? So I'm you know, that part, I'm happy to leave Lafayette County, but to be forced to not come back to Lafayette County, especially being a father, that's it bothers me. It bothers me a good bit, and that's where, as parents, we make the selfless decision to provide for our children and be there for our children, and I guess that's really the thing that bothers me the most is having to leave the area where my daughter resides in.
So who came up with this condition?
Well, this was a condition that there were several different arrangements put in place for this plea deal, and this was one of them. I agreed to it in order to settle this thing out, to get out of jail. The bond was very, very excessive. It was extremely excessive to the point of ultimately being unconstitutional, and in my opinion, really unlawful. Because if you look at it, they require a $150,000 bond, 10% in cash, and the other remainder in collateral. So typical bond, 10% gets you out. So and the bonding company takes on that collateral on the bond. So what that ultimately means to me is that this is not a $150,000 bond that I was given, that this is a $1,500,000 bond that I was given, with having to post $150,000 worth of collateral to get out.
Because your lawyer was saying it was his and your suggestion that you agree not to come to Lafayette County.
Well, it was, I agreed to it as part of the plea deal, because I honestly, to come up with $150,000 of collateral, I didn't have it.
But it wasn't your idea?
it was something that was tossed to me from the state as part of a plea deal. I had been in jail for since May 26th, so 40 something days, and with the grand jury not reconvening until August or September, I wouldn't get a trial date until well into next year, and that gets back to the selfless acts of being a parent and being there and providing for your child. Ultimately, at the end of the day, the reason why I did this was for my child, is so that I could be a proper parent to her and not be incarcerated and stay in jail for a very extended period of time on a very, very excessive bond. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I signed up for the Marines at the end of 2007 and got out in 2011. And I took an oath, and I've said this many times. I took an oath to protect our country, to defend our Constitution, protect our country from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. I am a notable Second Amendment activist. I'm an activist for the state flag, and it's, like I've said before with the state flag, it's not just about the flag itself. It's about the taxpayers and what the taxpayers vote for. And it's for me, I would never put anybody's life in jeopardy. Even though I'm not in the Marine Corps anymore, the oath that I took stands tall with me today. And I would never put anybody's life in jeopardy unless they put my life in jeopardy, my family's life in jeopardy, my friend's life in jeopardy, or those that are defenseless around me. That is why I carry a gun. That is why I carried a gun before. You see on the news every day, there's shootings every day that are going on, crazy people. I'm not a crazy person. I'm here to protect us and to protect our rights. And that's really what this comes down to at the end of the day, is, it's
let's talk about how we got to this point, because I understand you pleaded guilty to aggravated stalking. What was the allegation in that, and what happened?
So the allegation, I cannot mention the person's name just for reasons of not being able to communicate to or about this individual. But I will say this: the Oxford Eagle in Oxford, of course, published an article, and on May 26th, whenever I was originally locked up, and they said that originally that I was arrested on charges of aggravated stalking against Mayor-elect Robin Tannehill, and then they amended that article to aggravated stalking against a public official. And then they amended it to something else. I can't even keep up with it. They amend it so much. But all I can say is this fake news needs to stop. It needs to stop. It's gone so far as this has been shared all around the country with different news agencies, and they have copied the title that the Oxford Eagle originally posted. And it has just slung my name through the mud and improperly represented what this charge was, and like I said,
Can you say what the charge was?
Well, the charge was aggravated stalking.
But can you talk about any specifics? I know you can't talk about any individuals' names or anything, but can you say what you did and what they're saying you did?
They allege that in the affidavit that I put this person in reasonable fear of their life through having guns, and I can assure you that for one, I've never ever put anybody's life in jeopardy. It's something that at the end of the day, the reason why I took this deal mainly was for my daughter. It was not so much as I was pushed around on this deal. I wanted to get out so that I could be a parent. I could move on from this very sour situation, because at the end of the day, I felt it was a way to silence a notable activist for standing up for what they believe in. And I believe as citizens, we all have the right to voice our opinions. That's what the First Amendment guarantees.
Would you say it would be fair to say your Second Amendment activism led this person to, I guess, bring this charge against you?
I would believe that definitely plays a big part in it right there. But there was, I can't really go into details because I don't need to disclose this person's personal information.
There were two business owners in the Oxford Square, and they had said you caused disturbances at their restaurants in the past. Can you talk about any of that?
I cannot talk about that.
Okay.
But I can say that anything in regards to this case is public knowledge. I would also like to say one other thing, and this has not been covered by any news agency, and I'm actually pretty disappointed that it wasn't, because this is also public knowledge as part of the plea arrangement. But I also, as part of the plea arrangement, I also had to sign a covenant to not sue Lafayette County Sheriff's Department or the Sheriff of Lafayette County in order to get the plea deal and move on about my way. So you can take that how you want it.
Wow.
But,
yeah, I didn't know that.
But that is part of the plea arrangement. It is in public knowledge of the case that there's a covenant to not sue Lafayette County or Lafayette County Sheriff's Department or the sheriff.
So what's next for you? I mean, do you stay in Mississippi?
I'm moving out of state. I'm not going to disclose exactly where I'm going to be going to, but I am moving out of state. I've gotten a lot of unfair media treatment and coverage over everything that's gone on. There's also been rumors that have spread, and I will say that this rumor, I have credible information and proof that this did come from local law enforcement officers. I'm not going to name anybody in specific, but they know who I'm talking about. That I was dishonorably discharged from the Marine Corps, and I think that's very unfair, because due to PTSD, some traumatic things that I encountered, I was discharged in 2011 for alcohol rehabilitation failure due to self-medicating using alcohol for the traumatic things that I had witnessed. It's not a dishonorable discharge. It is a general discharge from the Marine Corps, general under other than honorable conditions. So I do want to clear that up for the record.
Okay. I had seen that rumor on Facebook. Because it's just a rumor, we weren't really going to go into that.
Sure. I just wanted to clear the airwaves on that and try to at least get that out there, so maybe I can stop some of the fake news that's going around.
Okay, great. And just one more point, I guess as part of this plea deal, you did have another charge dismissed.
I did, and that's May the 1st. I was arrested for disorderly conduct for standing in front of the statue on the square on public property, holding the state flag. I was asked to leave. I questioned the officer on that because I believe that the First Amendment covers my right to stand there. It was not I don't see it as a protest. There were not multiple people there. It was just me standing there, minding my own business, and the officer was not wearing his badge. And I walked away, had a few heated words to say when I walked away, and I turned around to ask the officer what his badge number was, and I was placed under arrest. But the disorderly conduct was dismissed as part of this plea deal.
All right, sure, appreciate it. Thank
you so much for coming out.
Yeah, do you have any concerns? You have my cell phone number now. Just reach out.
Sounds great.
All right.
Thank you.
And this should be on tonight at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.